Have you ever wondered what a leader really says when everything goes completely wrong? What's actually going through their mind after a really crushing defeat? Well, today, we're going to get a rare glimpse into that exact moment. We are going inside the press conference of Liverpool's new manager, Arne Slot, right after a devastating loss. We're going to break down his words piece by piece to really understand how a leader confronts a crisis. So, let's get into it. First, the context. And it is brutal. You're looking at a 1-4 home loss to rivals PSV Eindhoven. Yeah, there's just no hiding from a scoreline like that. It's the kind of result that demands answers, and you can just imagine the pressure in that room is immense. And Slot, to his credit, doesn't even try to hide from it. I mean, his very first word sets the tone for everything that follows. He calls it a shock. And you gotta understand, he's not just talking about a bad result here. He's acknowledging this shared sense of disbelief that everyone, and I mean everyone in that room, is feeling. This is our starting point. So, how does a team go from a pretty promising start to a complete and total collapse? Well, according to Slot, it's not about a lack of effort. It's about a tactical chain reaction, this series of small events that just snowballed into a disastrous outcome. Let's break down exactly what he meant. A journalist basically asks him, hey, what happened? What changed after what looked like a pretty good first half? And Slot's answer is fascinating. It wasn't some big drop in motivation or some grand strategic error. Nope. Instead, it was something tiny, something you'd barely even notice, but it had these huge, massive consequences. This is where it gets really interesting. Believe it or not, it all started with a back spasm. You have one player, Hugo Ekitike, who just can't press with the same intensity he normally would. And that tiny, tiny change was enough to unravel the whole system. Because a team like PSV, with the kind of skilled players they have, they will punish any weakness. And boy, did they. You can really see the domino effect here, how one small physical issue led to a complete tactical collapse. Okay, so when a team gets hammered like this, what's the first thing the media does? They look for someone to blame, right? It's the blame game. But Slot, he just refuses to play. And this is where we really start to see his core philosophy in action, a philosophy that is all about collective responsibility. So you have the journalist coming at him, right? They've got a whole list of individual errors, pointing the finger at specific players for each goal conceded. It's a total classic media move. But Slot's response? It's just as classic for him. He doesn't take the bait, he just brings it right back. For him, it's never one person's fault. It's always about the team. And this right here, this is really the heart of Slot's whole philosophy. See, in his mind, there's almost no such thing as an individual error. If one player messes up, it's because the whole team failed somewhere along the line. Now, that's a pretty radical idea in a sport that just loves to create heroes and villains, but it's the kind of thinking that builds a culture of trust and real accountability. A loss like this doesn't just mess with a team's tactics, it can absolutely break their spirit. So naturally, the next question is all about that. Did this loss just break them? And the journalist uses one single, really powerful word to ask it. That word, shell-shocked, it's a loaded term, right? It implies the team is just broken, totally bereft of confidence, completely lost its nerve. It's super dramatic, and Slot's response to it is just brilliant in how nuanced it is. Okay, Slot's answer here is a total masterclass. He's like, yeah, it's a shock, I'll give you that, but bereft of confidence? No way. And he doesn't just say it, he actually backs it up. He points right to the moments in the game where his team fought back, where they showed real resilience. But, and this is important, he's not some blind optimist. He totally admits that, yeah, by the end, after those last 2 goals went in, it did a number on some of the players' morale. So, we've talked tactics, we've talked psychology, but there's always one more question that's just hanging in the air after a result like this, and that's about the manager himself. The pressure is massive, and the next question goes right for the throat. And they ask him straight up, is it fair that your own job is on the line now? You know, it's a question designed to get a reaction, to see if he'll get defensive or maybe play the victim. And this, for me, is where you really see Slot's mental strength. He doesn't bite. He doesn't complain that it's unfair. He just accepts it as part of the deal. He basically says, look, when a manager loses football games, people are going to have opinions. That's just normal. So if he's not wasting any energy on all that outside noise, what is he focusing on? Well, it's all about the process. His mind is on analyzing what went wrong, trying to find solutions, and helping his players as much as he can. And this is classic Slot, it all comes back to that collective responsibility thing. He's also looking in the mirror, saying, I need to be better too. It's just a powerful message of leadership. All right, so where does a team and a manager go from a moment like this? Well, the final part of this press conference kind of gives us his blueprint for getting out of the crisis. And it's this really interesting mix of the emotional and the analytical. Slot's whole recovery plan is this fantastic blend of feeling and thinking. On one hand, he's not afraid to say, yeah, this stuff hurts. It takes a long time to get over. But he doesn't let that feeling take over his judgment. He's pragmatic, but he also knows he has to talk to his players, individually and as a group. And through it all, the one core principle he keeps coming back to is that everyone, him, his staff, the players, they're all still putting in a ton of effort. They're still fighting. So what's the big takeaway from this masterclass in crisis management from Arne Slot? I mean, we've seen a leader who's honest, who's accountable, and who deep down never seems to lose faith in his team. But let's be real. The ultimate test isn't in a press conference. It's out there, on the pitch. And that leaves us with the big question, right? Is a manager's philosophy, no matter how strong it is, really enough to turn the tide when things get this tough? I guess only time will tell.